to call to order the Old Bridge Township Council meeting for April 20th, 2020. Please rise for a pledge of allegiance. Please remain standing for a moment of silence and for our prayer. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As customary in this chamber, we stand for a moment of silence. Remember those who are protecting our freedoms, both here and abroad. For our first responders, for those who made the ultimate sacrifice, and this evening for those who passed away due to the coronavirus. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Our prayer, Stella.
O Lord, bless thy servants in the ministry of public affairs who serve thee in this chamber. Give them quiet minds and hearts that they may hear thy voice. Help them to know when to speak, when to be silent. Give them strength to oppose the wrong and uphold the right. And grant that they have a good conscience and soul at peace with thee and one another. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to take a roll call. Mrs. Brown?
Here.
Mrs. De Palma?
Here.
Dr. Greenberg?
Here.
Mr. Merwin? Mr. Merwin?
Here.
Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Mr. Pescetti?
Here.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Here.
Mrs. Walker?
Here.
President Sohar?
Here.
9 present. Now, Madam President,
Yes.
we're going to ask you to please take a motion to amend the agenda due to the circumstances. There will only be one public portion at the beginning of the meeting, and the 5-minute time limit will be suspended, and we will have a 3-minute time limit, so we can take as many calls as possible and be fair to everyone. Would you please take a motion for the record?
Yes.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Okay, Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yeah, yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
And President Sohar?
Yes.
9 yes. Thank you.
Good evening, and we'll start the meeting now. The first thing will be, we have no approval of minutes this evening. Next will be our bill listing. Mrs. Walker.
Accounts payable, April 20th, 2020, $15,121,718.81.
Do I have a
Move it.
motion?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohar?
Yes.
9 yes.
Payroll, March 27, 2020, $1,039,580.55.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohar?
Yes.
9 yes.
Payroll overtime, March 27, 2020, $36,355.73.
Do I have a motion?
Move
Move
it.
it.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli. May we have a breakdown, Mr. Shaw?
Yes, Madam President. Thank you, Council President. As Councilwoman indicated, that total overtime for this pay period was $36,355.73. Obviously, we have a special events of pandemic. The total police office overtime was $20,879.53. When you deduct from the grant 2,000.04, deduct ETO 5,885.37, and deduct accreditation overtime 5,042.40, and deduct for pandemic overtime 836.88. The net overtime for this pay period is $12,157.24, representing 410.75 men and women hours. There was no injured on duty. There was no officer quarantine this pay period.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shaw.
Okay, Mrs. Brown? Mrs.
Yeah.
Brown?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohar?
Yes.
9 yes.
Payroll, April 9, 2020, $871,657.59.
Do I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Moved by Mr. Rizzoli, second by Mr. Piscitty.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohar?
Yes.
9 yes.
Payroll overtime, April 9, 2020, $15,767.73.
Do I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Piscitty, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
No, I need a
Mr. DePa-
breakdown, Stella, excuse me. Can I have? a
Oh, I'm
break-
sorry.
No, that's okay. May we have a breakdown, please?
Yes, Council President, thank you. As Councilwoman Walker indicated, the overtime for this pay period was $15,767.73. There is no real uptick in other department. For police department, the total overtime was $5,237. Deduct accreditation cost of $856.53. Deduct pandemic cost of $3,036.24. The net overtime was $2,200.76. Probably the lowest ever. Hours, representing hours of 111 hours of, and then the special events pandemics. There were no injured on duty. There was 4 officer quarantine at this pay period.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohar?
Yes. That concludes the bill list, Mrs. Walker?
Yes, I was just waiting for the total. Yes, that concludes the bill list.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, next will be H1, release of performance guarantee, New Amsterdam Village Apartments, Block 4185, Lot 11, application number 28-13Z. I will bring this over to Mrs. Shapiro, please.
Thank you, Council President Sohar. This is an application that was in front of our zoning board a few years back, and it was for the construction of a community building for primarily the use of the tenants. It didn't-
Nicole, I don't want
Yes.
to interrupt. It's Mark Roselli. Is the attorney for the applicant on?
She should be there, Mark.
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, is that you,
Yes.
Susan?
Yes, great.
All right.
So
I thank
Susan
you. I want to make sure
Rubright
you're on.
from Brock Eichler.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Nicole.
No problem. So this application was in front of our zoning board, and it was really to construct a community building for the residents of New Amsterdam. I'm sure everybody's familiar. New Amsterdam Village is on the along the Route 9 corridor, tucked behind along Route 9 northbound, in the vicinity of Westminster Boulevard. And the proposed improvements was for community building to house a rental office, laundry room, and an exercise gym. The site improvements included construction of a parking area, some drainage improvements, and some additional landscaping to the site. Subject to our CFO, the performance guarantee was posted in the amount of $105,231.42, of which in the form of a bond was $94,708.28. 10% of that was in form of cash, $10,523.14. Please note that in my letter, underneath the numbers, it does say that this is for a reduction of the performance guarantee. That is not true. This is a release of the performance guarantee. My office did go out and inspect the site work, and we have found that everything all the bonded improvements have been satisfactorily addressed, and we only ask that the applicant pay any outstanding escrow fees if there are any. And also note, at the time that this application was built, there was in the MLUL a requirement for a maintenance guarantee. That no longer is the case, and that sentence has been striked through on my memo dated or revised March 30th, 2020.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Shapiro. I will now I'll open it to the public, if anyone in the public wishes to be heard on this.
Mary, just remember the delay.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, Mark, I'm
Just want to remind council members that they should keep their mic muted until spoken, or they have any questions. Any phone calls?
Doesn't look that way, but we do have the applicant's attorney there for counsel in case
That's
they have
fine.
any questions.
So you can close the public session, public comment period.
okay. So now we will close the public comment period on this subject, and I will go to council if council has any questions or concerns. Stella, you want to go down the list?
Okay. All right, Mrs. Brown, any questions?
No questions at this time.
Mr. De Palma
No, ma'am.
and Dr. Greenberg,
No.
Mr. Merwin,
No.
Mr. Murphy,
No.
Mr. Piscatty,
No.
Mr. Rizzoli,
No.
Mrs. Walker,
No.
President Sohar.
No. So then I will ask for a motion.
Hold on, Madam
Yes.
President. Council, Ms. Rubright, the one condition that the engineer had included was the release would be subject to posting of payment of all outstanding escrow fees. If any, your client will agree to that.
I'll move it.
You have to unmute her. She's being muted.
First, John, yeah, we have to ask about the fees. Mark is right.
Can you unmute counsel for the applicant? Thank you. I'm sorry, counsel.
Hi, thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Of course, we would agree. I don't believe there is anything outstanding, but, certainly if if that's the case, we would, of course, pay any outstanding escrow fees
And just for the,
or
so that,
inspection fees.
I'm sorry, so if the
I'm sorry?
record, so the record's clear, if you just give your name and then who you represent.
Oh,
just for the
certainly.
record.
Yeah, I thought I did before, but anyway, no. Susan Rubright. I'm an attorney with Brock Eichler in Roseland, and we are counsel for New Amsterdam Village Associates. And we would certainly agree. And I was actually also the attorney that handled the land use application. We would certainly, of course, pay any outstanding escrow fees if any are due. So you can, if the engineer or the finance officer can let me know, then, we would certainly make sure that that's taken care of.
All right, thank you, Council. You can call for the motion, Council President.
Okay, may I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Pescetti, second by Mr. De Palma.
Okay, Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Merwin, Mr. Merwin,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy, Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti,
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
President Sohar,
Yes.
9 yes.
Thank you, Council.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
very
Susan.
much.
And thank you.
Thanks. We'll take care. Have a good evening. Stay safe. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, next will be preliminary public comments to council, subject to the following conditions and restrictions. During the preliminary public portion of the meeting tonight, any person may address the Township Council on any subject matter for a maximum period of 3 minutes. Comments during the preliminary public comment portion of the meeting shall not encompass second reading ordinances or any other matter for which comment or a public hearing is to occur at the meeting.
Okay.
Just to
Um,
remember.
Madam
Hold on.
President, if I may, if the public is dialing in on your iPhone, please press *9 to raise your hand to speak. We will see it and you will be called on. Please know that your phone number will be visible on the screen. Okay?
And just want to remind everybody that this is the one public comments portion that we're going to have, except
Right.
for the ordinances that are scheduled for adoption this evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
There are no callers.
No callers?
No callers.
We have to wait a minute. Remember, there's a 30-second delay.
Yeah, let's, all right. Okay, I see one. Oh, no.
There are no hands raised.
Yeah, no hands raised.
We've had no call-ins.
No,
All right, you can proceed with closing public comment.
Motion to close public portion.
Excuse me?
Oh, did you need a motion to close, Mary? I'm sorry.
Mark, do we require a motion to close?
So because it's so difficult and so the record be clear, probably be okay to be more appropriate in this instance to do that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So Mr. Rizzoli made a motion.
Second.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Pescetti made a second.
and this is to close public portion.
Yes.
Yeah. Please.
Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Merwin,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti,
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
President Sohar.
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, next will be council comments, and we're going again to go through it in alphabetical order. Stella, can you call the roll, please, for that?
Yes. Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Council comments, if you have any?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have any?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, none at this time.
None at this time. Okay, thank you. Mr. De Palma?
Yes, just one quick thing. I just wanted to thank all the residents for, the stuff that we're going through right now, everyone being home. I know there's some difficulties that folks are, for the first time, probably staying in their house for extended periods of time. I'm sure I speak for the rest of the council. We do thank you for kind of going through this period as best you can. The one thing I would say, and especially me having 2 young children, this is probably the only time in my life that I'm going to be able to spend the amount of time with my kids. I'm saving close to 2.5 hours a day in commuting. So even though that things do look a little bleak and people are getting a little frustrated, think of it that way. Especially if you have children, whether they're newborns or getting ready to go to college or they're home from college, this might be the only time that you get to spend this exorbitant amount of time with them, right? So, I know from my 8-year-old and my 3-year-old, I'm kind of hoping that they don't remember the coronavirus and the quarantine. They remember mommy and daddy being home with them for however long that this goes on. So I just hope everyone just keeps a positive attitude with this. I think as we kind of get through this, things will start to get a little bit better. Obviously, we'll be going into a new normal, but glass should be half full, never half empty. Things are starting to trend in a better direction in both New York and now New Jersey. So I would just say, please, just everyone just continue what you're doing. Things are getting better. The sooner things get a lot better, the sooner we can get back to being with our families that don't live directly in our homes. But thank you again, everybody. And please, obviously, if anyone in Ward 2 or anyone in the town has any questions or concerns, please, you can reach out to me, reach out to your ward council, and we'll be more than happy to assist you.
Thank you. Dr. Greenberg? Any
Yes.
council comments?
Yes, I just would like to say thank you to all the doctors and nurses for all that they do, for the first responders, EMS, firefighters, and police for everything that they do every day, and also for the staff in town to making adjustments and working and keeping the town going. I appreciate that very much. And to our community, we are strong. We will get through this together. There are silver linings to it, just as Mr. De Palma said, being with family is very important. Helping those who need help, we reach out to them. Anything that we can do, we're here for you. So be safe, stay calm, and this too shall pass. And we look forward to all getting together again for happier times and a more normal life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Merwin?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. March 9th, 2020, Governor Murphy declared a state of emergency in the state of New Jersey. And since then, Old Bridge Township has had 716 or more first aid calls. And they have been dutifully being taken care of by our local EMS people who are putting themselves out on that front line. And they should be applauded. They are the ones that are out there. We've had one person that was exposed that had to go into quarantine that caught the virus while on a call, and everybody else has been safe. So I think the EMS workers in this town really deserve a real big pat on the back. The closing of our parks has caused a little problem down in Lawrence Harbor. I know everybody received some emails, and the mayor got an email. It's an unintended consequence I don't know if we're able to, put some temporary resident parking signs up or not. I don't know what the legal thing with that would be for Mark to figure out, but if we could, we may want to do that because they're over flooding the neighborhoods and the people are getting a little scared. There's a lot of out of state plates. So people are coming from all over with the beautiful weather coming. And we just don't want them to think. I mean, the one lady, she's standing there and a guy spits over her fence. And in this day and age, that's like unbelievable. But if there's something we could do, they surely would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Merwin.
Okay, Mr. Murphy.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank all the responders. Everybody has been excellent, right down to the people in the law, that's in the supermarkets. And I'm really glad to see everybody, especially in our town, put politics aside and work for a common goal. And throughout the country, it looks like we've come together again. I just want to see it happen there. And this is going to be something that our children have to remember. I know it doesn't sound like a good thing, but the three things I remember was, first was the Kennedy assassination, then the Twin Towers, and now this. And I know where I was at each one of those times when it happened. And it's good to see everybody, surviving and just working with each other. And I want to thank everybody in Old Bridge who has helped me and who I have helped. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Okay, Mr. Veschetti.
Yes, I too want to thank the residents very much for, staying at home and putting that sacrifice forward. It looks like, what was intended to flatten that curve so we wouldn't overwhelm our hospitals has worked, and we're on our way. And it's the residents, it's all the people of our town that really deserve the praise, because there are people that oppose these orders because of constitutional issues, but for the most part, I see a lot of people thinking of not only of themselves but of their neighbors, and doing what's right to isolate themselves and so we can get through this. Also, I just wanted to just encourage folks at home to keep in their thoughts and prayers, your first line responders, police, fire, EMS, nurses, doctors, support staff, and government officials here in Old Bridge as well. Our mayor, the governor, the president, all their cabinet and staff. It would be good to pray for them. And these are difficult times for all, and appreciate the sacrifice everyone's making. We are making a difference. Thanks again.
Thank you, Mr. Veschetti.
Mr. Rizzoli.
Thank you, Stella. Yeah, I want to thank our nurses, our doctors, our first responders, our dispatchers, those who are delivering things, our truckers, our longshoremen, our convenience store clerks, our supermarket clerks, our mailmen and women out there who are making sure we have what we need to get through this crisis. I just want to remind our community, support our local businesses. They're the same businesses who support our Board of Ed, our leagues, all the community events. We can't forget them right now, especially so a number of them have closed. We need to make sure, we can save as many as possible by, giving them as much business as possible right now. And I just want everybody to remember, as Americans, we overcome, we adapt. That's what Americans always do, and we'll get through this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes, I would just like to thank all of our essential workers for putting their lives on the line every day. And I'd also like to tell everyone, when this is all over, please come out and support all Old Bridge businesses because they've been suffering. And if you have any concerns or questions, you can contact me at dwalker@oldbridge.com if you have any questions. Stay safe.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker.
Okay, and Mrs. Sohar.
Yes, I'll just finish the comments by saying that I too am Old Bridge proud. We have a wonderful community, and our first responders, our doctors, our nurses, all the volunteers, our staff at the town could not be more amazing. There is one thing I just wanted to mention this evening. There was a post about the Old Bridge Food Bank, and of course, naturally, during these times, it's going to be even more used because of what's been going on. So they're seeking donations for non-perishable food items as well as toiletries. They're asking for, all kinds of things from dairy, protein, fresh grain, soup, baby needs, and so on. They will be dropped off. You can drop them off on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. They have set up a no contact drop off right outside of the food bank for your convenience and safety. So I'm just asking everyone, if you have the ability to give, I know it's hard right now, but it would be greatly appreciated for the families here in Old Bridge that are truly now in a place of need. So thank you all very much.
Council President,
Yes,
can I just ask, what's the address of that food bank?
Stella, do you have the address for the food bank?
No, I don't. Mr. Shaw
Yeah.
might.
Can ask, I believe Matt is online. If you don't mind, Council President, I can ask him to announce that.
Absolutely. Matt, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Our address that we use is 1 Old Bridge Plaza for our food bank, and it's located right next to our building department. If you are in our parking lot, our building department has a red roof. Right next to that is our food bank, and we will have a tent up there set up with 2 large black bins that says available for food donations.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, that's the end of council comments. I got everybody, Mrs. Sohar.
Okay, thank you, Stella. Next would be the report of the clerk.
Okay, none at this time,
Thank you.
other than we hope everybody stays safe and well.
Absolutely. Report of the attorney.
Nothing to report, Madam President.
Thank you. Administrative reports, Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, Council President. Administrative report for April 20, 2020. Short report, but there are important items that I want to, for the benefit of the public and the residents. Item number 1, second quarter tax payment. Second quarter tax payments are due May 1st with a grace period until May 11th. At this time, state has not authorized a further extension due to COVID-19, and the township does not have the authority to extend the grace period beyond the statutory 10 days. Payment for taxes cannot be accepted with cash. Payments will be accepted online through the township website, through automatic withdrawal set up with the tax collector's office, by mailing a check or money order to the township or to our lockbox, or by leaving a check or money order in the drop box located near the main door of the Thomas J. English Administration Building. Again, please do not put cash payment in a drop box. For additional information, residents should go to oldbridge.com or contact the Division of Tax Collection at 732-721-5600 extension 2999. Item number 2, Department of Public Works, round 2 of spring pickup will begin with the week of May 4th in all wards. Leaf bags should be placed at the curbs on Sunday evening, May 3rd, and capped out all week. For additional information, residents will call extension 6140 or email publicworks@oldbridge.com. The Department of Public Works is still picking up appliances, brushes, and leaves at curbside only. For more information, visit oldbridge.com/recycling. Item number 3, CDBG fiscal year 2020 to 2024, 5 years consolidated plan and 2020 annual action plan. On Tuesday, April 28, 3 p.m., a public virtual hearing is scheduled for fiscal year 2020 to 2024, 5-year consolidated plan and 2020 annual action plan. The allocation of fiscal year 2020 is $271,414 with approximately $74,296.54 in the program income and prior year funds available. A notice will be posted on the township website prior to the meeting to advise residents on instruction on how to join the virtual meeting. Item number 4, 2016 Homestead Rebate Program. In light of unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic, the state of New Jersey has placed funding for homestead credits in reserve to meet emergency and statutorily required obligations. While this is highly regrettable, it is necessary due to highly fluid and unanticipated fiscal impact of COVID-19 event on statewide revenues. Therefore, homeowners will not be receiving homestead credit on their May 2020 taxes. Reissuance of homestead benefit credit will be revisited by the state if condition is warranted. That concludes my report, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Stella, can you call the roll if anyone has any questions or comments on Mr. Shaw's report, please?
Sure. Mrs. Brown?
Do I have any comments? No, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. You accept his report?
Oh, absolutely. I accept the report.
Okay. Mr. De Palma?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay. Dr. Greenberg?
No comments except the report.
Thank you. Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy? John?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Fischetti?
Yes, no comments.
Mr. Rizzoli?
I think it's unfortunate about the homestead rebate. I think this crisis has really exposed the reckless spending that's coming out of Trenton by Governor Murphy. I think he needs to get himself under control and start funding programs that actually help taxpayers in his state. And at some point, there has to be some accountability. Towns like ours are going to be suffering because of the recklessness of our governor. And I hope moving forward that he opens his eyes and he's given the proper advice to get through this crisis. And that's it. And I do accept the rest of the report.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker?
I accept the report.
Thank you. And Mrs. Sohar?
Yes, I accept the report as well.
Thank you. 9 yes on accepting the report.
Mayor, do you have anything you'd like to add at this time?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Some of the stuff I'm going to say is redundant, but it has to be said. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the council for all its hard work during these unprecedented times. Let me just say that we have a very tough road ahead of us, but I know you're all up to the task. Again, I need to thank our first responders, our police, our fire. Special thank you to our EMS, our dispatchers who deal with this on a daily basis, OEM, which is still open and staying open 24/7. A big thank you to our township employees, our department heads that are on the line tonight. Thank you so much. Your commitment and dedication to this township, you have proven is second to none. A special thank you to a lot of our residents who have stepped up to the plate, as they say. And your actions have been inspiring, but what you've donated by your time, your money, and your goods that have gone to assist other people, in this time of need. Obviously, a big thank you to everyone working over at Old Bridge Hospital. They're taking care of many of our residents. And we say thank you to all the workers over at the hospital. To our residents, if you do have the means and the ability to donate at this time, now is the time to step forward and make contributions and help in any way you possibly can. And let me just close by saying that we've had a number of people impacted by the virus here in Old Bridge, and to the victims, the people that are still suffering with the virus, that everyone, you and everyone in your family is in our thoughts and prayers. And I would open up the council if anyone had any questions for the mayor. This is new for me too. We seem to be taking whatever we need to get done. So if the council has any questions, I will take questions.
Stella, you want to ask if there's anyone?
Sure. Okay. Mrs. Brown, any questions for Mayor Henry?
None at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. De Palma?
No, nothing at this time.
Dr. Greenberg?
No, but I just want to say the mayor has been working tirelessly, and I appreciate everything that you're doing with coordinating everything in town and being on top of everything. And it's made a difference for the stream of information that we get from you. And I can't tell you enough how much it's appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Merwin,
No,
David, anything?
no.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy,
Mayor, how you feeling?
I feel fine. Thank God.
Right.
Everyone, my family is fine.
You're still out there all the time, talking to the people. Maybe I haven't seen you outside, but I hear you've talked to a lot of them. I just say, keep up the good job.
Thank you.
Mr. Pescitti,
Yeah, I too want to thank you, Mayor, for your hard work and efforts. This is an unprecedented time for us and for you as well. And I think you're doing a great job. I just want to encourage you to keep it up. Thank you.
I will. Thank you.
Mr. Rizzoli,
Yeah, I just want to thank the mayor. Him and I speak often, with the situations going on within the township and trying to make sure we have the support for our local businesses. I discussed with him and the council president and the rest of the council, number of council, before I started doing the videos for our local businesses. And the mayor fully supported that. And I just want everybody to know that the mayor was engaged from the onset of this crisis, especially when it came to helping our local businesses. And I just want to thank him for that.
thank you. Mrs. Walker,
Yes, I just want to thank you, Mayor, for keeping us informed every day and updated, and we know what's going on every day. Thank you.
and President Sohar.
Yes, of course, to echo, I'd like to say thank you, Mayor. I think you have shown strong leadership. And I think you also show compassion for the people, which is something that right now we need both of. So thank you so much for representing us in such a positive way.
Thank you, council.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Stella. Next,
Yeah.
our consent agenda. What we'll do is now again go down the row alphabetically to see if any one of the council people have a separation to be made. So we will take a motion first and a second, and then we'll have separations.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Pasquini.
Now, this is only if you have a separation.
Right, from C.
Right, Mrs. Brown, any separations?
No.
Mr. De Palma, separations?
C10.
Dr. Greenberg?
No.
Mr. Merwin?
You there? 6, 9, 12.
Wait, 6,
6, 9, and 12.
9, and 12. Okay, got it.
Mr. Murphy?
10,
Excuse me?
C10.
B10? Thank you.
Already been separated,
Oh,
John.
that's already been separated.
I want to speak on it.
Oh,
Okay,
absolutely. Everyone will have their turn, John. Yep.
okay, John. All right, Mr. Pescitti?
No.
Any separations? No?
No.
Mr. Rizzoli?
No separation, Stella.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker?
No.
And President Sohar?
No.
Okay. All right, so we'll take Mr. De Palma first on C10.
Are we gonna,
Or
Stella,
do you want to take a vote on the,
balance
balance?
first? We have a motion and a second already.
all right, so it'll be on the balance, everything except C10, C6, 9, and 12.
Correct.
Okay, just the balance. All right, Mrs. Brown on the balance.
That I have no comments on any of the balance. So am I supposed
Okay,
to? No?
yes.
Yeah, say yes, sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
all
I'm
right.
trying to follow it. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. De Palma
Yes.
on, okay, Dr. Greenberg, sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Merwin on the balance.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti,
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
President Sohar.
Yes.
Okay, we'll take C6 first.
Yeah, that'll be Mr. Merwin, and then after Mr. Merwin, we can go down the rows if anybody has any comments or questions.
Okay, all right, Mr. Merwin on C6, please.
Yes, I say this is for the stormwater like runoff in the area of Madison and Darwin Road. I know about 10 years ago or so, they did a major engineering study out in that area. I just hope we're not reinventing the wheel here for something that we may already have, you know, spending another $48,000 is my only concern. I mean, if it hasn't been addressed, it hasn't been addressed, but I know there was a major one about 10, 11 years ago.
Is Mr. Shapiro there to speak on this, or?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Council President, Councilman Merwin, this is actually not a redo. I actually personally did a capacity analysis on the existing pipes there. We have flooding at the intersection of Madison Avenue and Darwin Road. That's approximately, probably greater than 12 inches of in depth, and goes onto the neighbor's front lawn, some into their driveways. What we're trying to do is to remedy that. I took a look at the drainage areas that contribute to the stormwater facilities in the area and noticed that some of the pipes are undersized for the area, and we're looking to upgrade that or to try and mitigate and find an alternate route as a bypass. But no, this has not been done before. Anything that has been available to us, we have used in the data, and it's actually the highest cost that came in was well over 100,000. So what I was trying to do is do a little bit of the background work so that the numbers could come in lower, and this consultant got it.
I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't something we already did, that's all.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Shapiro.
All right, could I have a motion on that, Ms.?
All right, I think Mr. Merwin moved, Dr. Greenberg second. Anyone else have questions? I mean, before we go on, anybody else from council questions? No? Okay.
Definitely needs to be done.
Mrs. Brown on C6.
Yes.
Mr. De Palma.
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg.
Yes.
Mr. Merwin.
Yes,
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti.
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
And President Sohar.
Yes.
9 yes on C6. We go to C9 now.
Yes. C9, Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
yes, there we go. What is this for? 3 more Tahoes or?
Hey, hold on.
Yeah, Council President, I have a Captain Mandola or Sergeant doctors. One of them will respond to the question.
Okay, thank you very much.
Captain or Sergeant, can you respond to this 3 vehicles question?
I can
Yes,
respond.
sure.
Food and doctors here.
There we go.
Go ahead, Herb.
Mr. Merwin, this is the equipment to upfit the Tahoes. These Tahoes are already bought. We were just waiting for this meeting to go ahead and approve all the equipment and installation costs.
Very good, thank you.
You have to chime in there?
Okay.
Anyone else have a question?
If there's nobody else, I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Merwin, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Okay, Mrs. Brown on C9.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. De Palma.
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg.
Yes.
Mr. Merwin.
Yes,
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti.
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
President Sohar.
Yes.
9 yes on C9. Now we go to C10, Mr. De Palma.
Yeah, so, Mr. Shah, I just wanted to, is this the grant that we were given by the state to put in the electric vehicle charges?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're anticipating, we got award of the grant, and now we're anticipating that in the budget. This is the process of putting that money in the budget.
Okay, yeah, it's a heck of a day to talk about electric vehicles, considering that gas closed at negative $37 and change. But I actually think it's a great thing. I think, as we go forward, I would love to see more electric chargers throughout the town. And we have, just in East Brunswick alone, you go to the mall and they have that whole slew of the Tesla superchargers. I think as more and more of the car companies start to go electric, I think we're, as a township, need to rethink on how we're doing and to get a lot more of those up. I think it's a great first step. I know we have some electric vehicles in town with the Priuses for some of the officials. So I think this is a great first step.
Council President, I think there are some locations has electric charging station. This is not a supercharger we're installing in the town. This is a small level charging system that the DEP is awarding to the town, and most of the town has already accepted and are moving forward on installing that as a convenience to our residents and maybe visitors. It's going to be a limited time of charging. It's not a long-term charging station. You know the electric charging of electric vehicle cost are minuscule in a scheme. They're not, 1 or 2 hours charging has very small amount of the cost. But that's what. But the whole idea is to promote green energy, reduce the carbon, and that's the purpose of the DEP to awarding this grant.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and Mr. Shaw, I definitely, and really for council and mayor, I definitely think it's just something that we need to look at more broadly, rather than just only the electric chargers, but the advances in solar energy, wind energy, and everything like that. We do need to make a concerted effort as a town and as a state to do better. And I definitely think this is a good start. And hopefully the residents get to use it as they visit the library and wherever it goes in the Township Plaza. So I commend the DEP for giving it to us.
Thank you. Anyone else for any comments?
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion?
Oh, 110-2.
John wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead.
John.
Right ahead, John. Yep.
Okay, first of all, do we have any electric cars owned by the township now?
No, we have buses. I believe they do need some electric charging, but we do not operate electric charging vehicle.
Okay, I'm a little disappointed here. We talked about this 6 months ago. There were many questions answered and the council wasn't very happy. There were questions about, was it going to be free? We didn't know at the time it was a grant, which this really isn't a grant. This is a grant up to $5,000. Believe me, this is gonna, their state is not gonna be worried about giving us money. So we're not gonna be getting anything back. And if we're gonna want this, we're probably gonna have to pay for it. So I'm a little upset about that because 6 months ago when we brought it up, it hasn't been brought up since. And now here's my other problems. I don't know about you, but I went to the backup. I got 16 pages of the agreement. I didn't get 16 pages of agreement. I got that letter on page 1. That's all I got. On the attachments, I got letter B, so I'm assuming there's a letter A. So that doesn't even exist. It doesn't exist in my thing. I don't know if you guys have it. Let's see. Well, I'm gonna have to vote no. And I'm saying until we get the entire 17 pages and the other 2 pages, I hope the rest of the council will vote no with me until we actually understand what's going on, because there's not enough backup on it.
Well, let me just clarify one issue, and it's council's decision to vote yes or no. But the 6 months back, this item was on the agenda for application of the grant. That was what was placed on the agenda. We just received the award. That's why it's on the agenda to add to the budget. So I know there was question saying, there should be a fees. Now we're gonna look into the fees, but if the fees, charging fees process, if that costs more than the actual cost of energy that will be, used, then it doesn't make sense to, put the fees on. So that's, my recommendation that we go forward with it. This is still a step 2. We're gonna have to, then go to step 3, acquire equipment and place it. But I will leave it up to council to decide.
I am just saying the council, as far as I'm concerned, I can't vote on a document where one is missing 16 pages and one is missing 1 page. As a councilman, I cannot do that. I need a little more time, and we do have time. The electrical cars aren't going to be here tomorrow. And he said the Prius, it's not for a Prius. It's to give yourself 50 cents worth of electric. That's what it's for. So let's just get it straight. I mean, I see no reason to vote yes now and just shove ourselves into something we don't need right now without being explained what's going on. That's all I have to say.
Council President?
Yes, Mr. Paschetti.
Yeah, the way I understand it is we got a grant for $5,000, and this consent is to take the 5,000 and build it. That's all, right?
Yes.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
All right, one at a time though, okay, so we don't talk over each other. Thank you.
All right, well, I'll yield to Mr. Murphy.
Okay.
Tell me where I'm wrong, Mr. Murphy.
That's not what it's for. It's to pay up to 5,000. It's going to cost more than that, and the town's not going to pay us anything. State won't pay us anything.
Well, we got a grant for 5,000, and to build it, it's going to, Hamachu, is it going to be costing more than 5,000 to build that?
I believe, let me ask Kyle. He should be on. I don't think we have an estimate, but we'll, let me ask him if he has any estimate.
Yeah, I don't see how we can utilize the 5,000 in building something if we don't know how much it's going to cost to build it.
I believe we're installing, this is Kyle. Are we
Kyle's here. I'm
in-house
here.
installation?
Yes, in the grant application, it laid out the actual charger that we'd be using with the cost of the charger and material and labor to do the install, and it was less than $5,000.
Okay. I'm satisfied.
Mr. De Palma has his hand up.
Yeah, so I just wanted to disagree with Mr. Murphy in saying that electric cars aren't coming. I drive the New Jersey Turnpike every single day. Well, not now because I'm working remotely, but every single day I drive on the New Jersey Turnpike and the Garden State Parkway. And I can tell you that I see Teslas and other electric vehicles every single day.
But it's only for 50 cents worth. It's not to fill it up. It's for just to get you home.
Every little bit helps, though.
Huh?
Every little bit helps at this point, Mr. Murphy. Baby steps. We can't. We're not going to jump out of planes with, with an umbrella. You gotta start small and then move up. That's what this is.
But I can't vote on an incomplete thing. We are missing 17 pages of the agreement. What if it says a lot of other stuff?
I believe the important information is the award letter was included and the budget that was submitted and the analysis of financial that was submitted is what included in the package. The agreement, the signing of agreement, and those are reviewed by the attorney and then signed by the mayor.
Oh, so Mayor, you'll agree with everything else in in those agreements? It's all right, and it's not going to cost more than 5,000?
I'm confident that's an accurate
Not you,
statement.
not
Yes.
you. I meant to talk to the attorney. He said the attorney reviewed it. I just don't see him paying anything. You think they're going to say, oh, we owe overage $5,000. They're not going to do that. They're going to be worried about how we're going to put the money back.
This is absolutely an award of the grant and we'll get reimbursed of all our spending. Every grant works this way. This is a reimbursement grant.
Where are the other pages?
I'm not sure why. Hold on, Kyle. Any idea why the other page, what other pages are?
I would ask Dawn, and she did the chapter 159 on this.
Yes, this is the chapter 159 resolution to add this money into the budget to authorize to spend that money and then get a reimbursement from the state.
Well, where's attachment A? That's the first page you left out. Let me ask you a question. Can I table this until the next meeting and we have the information? Am I allowed to do that now?
I don't know. I'm not sure why the other pages are not in that package. Kyle, any idea?
They should all be there.
Yeah, they're not.
Well, I'd like to table it till we get it.
Eric moved it, didn't he?
Yes.
Madam President,
Just take a roll call. Let's see how
Is
the
this-
vote goes.
is this on the table?
No,
Right,
I moved it.
wait,
Eric moved it, I seconded.
right.
I moved it. Dave seconded.
moved it and second, all right,
It was moved in second,
Ma-
already, so we have to roll call.
okay. Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg.
Yes, so it's just being moved and we get the grant for $5,000. We don't spend more than $5,000. That's my understanding.
Yes.
And it's the
Right.
money that will get reimbursed. Thank you.
Mr. Merwin,
Yes, based upon the information from the professionals and the mayor, I'm yes.
Mr. Murphy,
No.
Mr. Pescetti,
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli,
Yeah, I just want to reflect that I did call Mr. Shaw today and clarify things regarding the grant, so I am a yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
President Sohar.
Yes.
8 yes, 1 no.
Before you go on to the next item, just, I didn't have a chance, but, there was a recent legislation that was signed into law that's going to require municipalities to create a sustainable infrastructure, meaning that what Mr. De Palma was talking about, and that you're going to have to amend your land use element plan to include areas that you are going to, where you would like to see the installation of these types of facilities and larger facilities, and potentially have developers do it when they build, so there'd be no cost to the town. But towns are going to have, under this new law, have an obligation to provide this type of these types of stations anyway. So look at it this way, we're sort of ahead of the curve and providing the first charging station that's actually been mandated by the state already. So I actually have been working with Vina in that regard. You'll see probably the next meeting, we're going to amend our land use code to at least make it voluntary at this point, depending on the size of the application development. But later on, we'll have to change our master plan and then identify areas where the sustainable infrastructure can be included as part of an overall development plan. So that's coming. So this is your introduction to that, and there'll be more in the coming months.
Thank you, Mr. Roselli.
Thank you. Okay.
Next,
C12, Mr. Merwin.
Yeah, again, that's, what is this for? Is this for a Tahoe or a Bronco or an Explorer, whatever they got now?
Councilman Merwin, this is Sergeant Doctors again. This is for the, it's a Ford utility, basically the Explorer for admin DB. As we are replacing all the patrol cars, we also got to look at the admin DB side of it as well. Those cars are getting old. We still have Crown Vics rotated in there.
He meant Detective Bureau.
Yep.
I just wondering what type of vehicle it was, that's all.
Yep.
okay, anyone else have a question?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Merwin, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
And Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Merwin,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy. Don, Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty,
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
President Sohar.
Yes,
9 yes. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay,
Next will be ordinances for second reading. Ordinance number 2020-11, an ordinance of the Township of Old Bridge, Chapter 250 of the Code of the Township of Old Bridge entitled Old Bridge Township Land Development Ordinance by amending Section 250-41 entitled Conditional Uses. I will now open it up to the public.
Shall I announce the star 9 option?
I don't see any yet, but we have to give them a few seconds because it's delayed.
I'm timing. You got another half minute.
Got a typo in your instructions.
Right, the minute's up.
I'll move it.
Okay, I'd like a motion to
Move it.
close the public portion, moved by Dr. Greenberg.
Second.
Who's it, second by?
Second is Mark Rizzoli.
Okay, second by Councilman Rizzoli.
Okay. Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Merwin,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy. Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
thank you. Mr.
kidding me?
Piscitty,
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
President Sohar.
Yes, so the public portion is now closed. I will go to council. Does anyone in the council, starting with Mrs. Brown, anyone have any questions about this ordinance or comments?
None at this time.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you want me to go down the list,
Please.
Mary?
Yeah, please.
Mr. De Palma, any questions?
I do not.
Dr. Greenberg? Mr. Merwin?
No.
Mr. Murphy, any questions?
No.
Mr. Piscitty?
No.
Mr. Rizzoli?
No questions, Stella. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker, any questions?
No.
And Mrs. Sohar?
No, so I will take a motion now for this ordinance,
Second.
moved by Dr. Greenberg, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Okay. Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Piscitty?
What about Mr. Murphy?
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohar?
Yes.
9 yes.
Next will be ordinance 2020-12, an ordinance of the Township of Old Bridge establishing a new Article 4, Section 39-44 in Chapter 39 of the Code of the Township of Old Bridge entitled Pet Shops. I will now open it up to the public, please.
minutes up. I'll move to close.
I
the
don't see any callers.
We have no callers.
No? Okay, Mr.
No
Murphy,
callers.
made a motion,
motion to
Second.
close the public portion.
right, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Okay, close the public portion. Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Merwin,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti,
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
President Sohar.
Yes, we'll close the public portion, and now I'll ask, does anyone from the council have any questions or comments on this ordinance?
Okay, Mrs. Brown,
None at this time.
Mr. De Palma,
No, thank you.
Dr. Greenberg,
No.
Mr. Merwin,
No.
Mr. Murphy,
No.
Mr. Pescetti,
No.
Mr. Rizzoli,
No question, Stella.
thank you. Mrs. Walker? Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Okay. And President Sohar?
No comments, thank you, Stella. So now we need a motion.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Rizzoli, second by Mr. Murphy?
I think that's what it was, yes. Okay,
Yep.
all right. Mrs. Brown, this is for the ordinance itself.
For adoption.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Merwin,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti,
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
President Sohar.
Yes.
9 yes for the ordinance.
That would be ordinance number 2020-13. Ordinance authorizing the leasing of bus shelters on certain property owned by the Township of Old Bridge, no longer needed for public use. I'd like to first open it up to the public, please.
Okay.
Move, we close the public portion.
Okay, motion
Okay.
by,
I don't see any callers on
There
that.
are no callers.
okay, motion by Mr. Merwin. Second. Dr. Greenberg.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
Now, it's
Um,
council, does the council, anyone on council have a comment or a question?
okay, Mrs. Brown? Any questions?
No questions.
Mr. De Palma?
No comment.
Dr. Greenberg?
No.
Mr. Merwin?
No.
Mr. Murphy?
No.
Mr. Pescetti?
No.
Mr. Rizzoli?
No question, Stella.
Mrs. Walker?
No questions.
President Sohar?
No questions. Now I'll take a
Okay.
motion, please.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. De Palma.
Again, it's for adoption.
For adoption, yes.
Okay, Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohar?
Yes.
9 yes. Thank you.
Okay, next will be council member comments.
So starting with
Mrs.
Mrs.
Brown.
Brown, yeah.
Hi, okay. I just wanted to share very quickly that sorry, excuse me one second. There will be a food drive on April 26th, a food pantry also through Humanity First, which is a nonprofit organization serving central New Jersey. And it will be from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And people can order by the latest, I believe, is Saturday, the 26th at 5 p.m. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So I'll give the address real quick. The
Okay.
address is 27 South Street in Old Bridge. And the phone number is 732-841-4924.
Okay. And that's Saturday, the 26th.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's Sunday, the 26th, sorry. And the ability to order anything prior to the deadline is Saturday, the 25th at 5 p.m.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. De Palma?
Yes, I just wanted to, thank our local first responders again, the police, fire, EMS, and all our township employees for helping us get through this pandemic at this time. And also last Thursday, being at Raritan Bay, the hospital with the mayor, all the first responders, as well as Councilman Merwin. I hope that the staff of the hospital appreciated the show of support from not only the first responders in town, but also the residents that showed up. So again, I'd like to applaud all those folks that are sitting in there, that are sitting there. Some of them did look extremely tired walking out. So I do hope that they did get a little joy out of the appreciation that we showed them on Thursday night. And then on a personal note, I just wanted to wish my daughter a happy 4th birthday. It's a little strange for her. She's wondering where her party's going to be. So I had to do that today.
Happy birthday. Okay. Okay. Dr. Greenberg?
No, basically just be safe, everyone, use good judgment, and hopefully this will be over soon. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Merwin?
Yes. I'm blessed. I got a great son, and he's in Japan right now teaching English. And if we think we got it bad here, they thought they were opening up, and they just canceled the school for another month. This thing is real, and I hope everybody at home realizes this. I heard some troubling news today that the township is demanding all the employees come back to work on Monday. I hope we hold off on that until we get the medical and the experts give us the right information, and we're not rushing this back. I'd hate like hell to go 6, 7, 8 weeks and go through all of this, and then we come back too soon. So
That's not correct. We're not.
I'm glad. I hear it from your mouth now. See, I'm very glad.
Let me clarify, just so that we don't have a misunderstanding. We have an employee work. We have employee working alternate day, not a full day. The office, and so we're in light of the change. The only change we have is that now we'll have employee in the office. They can come in the morning. They can work either morning hours or afternoon hours. There's going to be a break in between, and then the change is going to take place. Or some department will have employee work, not all the employees, work one day, then the next day the other group of employees. We just want to, now that we establish the process and everything, that we can do more in that. So there is no We're not opening up the building. Building is not open to the public. Employee will be in, safe in the building. We have established the reason we did that is that we wanted to make sure that we have the building is well secured, safe, clean. Public Works has done tremendous job in maintaining, and now our goal is to now go back and have more hours in the office. That's all. But it's not opening a building to public. It's not everybody's coming to work same time. We're going to keep the social distancing and provide safe environment.
Macho, all I'm saying is, I hope you're not.
Councilman, you should have called me about it if you had a question.
Macho, I'm the councilman. I'll do it where I want to do it. All right?
Of course.
I asked this question. I hope you're not coming too soon.
No, we're not.
Listen, well, that's your opinion. I'm under the opinion that it's worked for the last couple of weeks. Why are we rushing?
There is no rush.
Listen, I'm not going to argue with you. I just want you to give it good scientific thought. If we've gone this long and it's worked, I don't know why we're rushing to get them all back.
But we're not rushing to get everybody all back.
Well, evidently you are.
Well, then you're wrong.
Right?
You're wrong about that.
You're saying Monday, right? I think Monday's a little too soon, but that's between me and you to argue at another time.
Okay.
All right.
Then we should call me about it.
You're just admitted that you're bringing it back Monday. So what did I misquote you?
But you're interpreting the wrong way.
All right.
I don't want anybody to get a
I think you're doing it too soon. And that's all that matters. I think that's all that matters. I think you're doing it too soon.
Okay.
I'm not here to argue about it. All right.
But
I'm on the front line. I know what's out there. I know how real it is. We got 15 dead people in this town, man, Mr. Shah, from this disease. All right. So stop. This is the real deal. That's why I'm asking you not to rush it.
You keep saying you're not arguing, and yet you're just ordering around and the misinformation.
It's not what misinformation. You
It is
tell
a
me what
misinformation.
misinformation. What? What misinformation?
You said we're opening building to public. No, we're not.
I didn't say, I never said that. You said that.
You
I
said
never
we are
said-
all coming
I
back
said
to work
you're
Monday,
bringing the
everybody.
people
That's
back to
not
work.
incorrect too.
Wait a minute. I said you're bringing the people back to work. I never said you were.
Everybody's working. The
I
township
never said
employees
you
are
were.
working.
You're right. You're right. So if it's working, why are we rushing them to get them back?
Okay.
Everybody is working in the building.
Can I interject here a moment,
Okay,
gentlemen?
make sure everybody's in the building then.
Can I interject a moment?
Correct.
This is, obviously, we've understood now you're going back and forth. So it's something like you said, you're going to discuss further with him. So I think we've established how you feel about the situation. Any other comments?
Yeah, yes, I did. And I believe our employees have done an exemplary job in this whole thing, from working at home to the ones that had to come to work. The building department, they had a little slip. They're right at it. They're out doing their inspections. All right. The road department is out there doing everything they can. Everybody that I know is doing everything they can. Even the people that are working home are doing a tremendous job. The town has hardly even, had a hiccup because of this. All right, so I want to thank each and every one of those employees, and hopefully we can do something to show our appreciation in the future. But we'll go from there. But thank you.
Okay.
I agree with you on that, Mr. Murray.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Murphy,
Yes?
any council comments from you?
No.
No, not at this time. Okay. Mr. Fischetti, any council comments?
Yeah, I just want to once again say thank you very much to all the employees of the town. And thank you, Himanshu, for doing a good job, keeping everything straight, and the mayor. And just want to thank the residents again for making the sacrifice. And we'll get through this, like Dr. Greenberg said, we'll get through this. We'll be stronger for it. Thank you again.
Thank you. Mr. Rizzoli?
Thank you, Stella. I just want to expand earlier what the council president said about our food bank. I have a further list of their needs right now. It's white rice, pancake mix, pancake syrup, peanut butter jelly, oatmeal, and mac and cheese. You can just drop that off at our food bank. Those items that were emailed to me that they were in need of. And I just want to thank everyone. And like I said, we'll adapt, overcome. And as Americans, we always get through things. God bless America.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker?
Yes, I'm just praying that everyone stays safe and healthy, and I really can't wait to get back to reality and be with people again. I think I have one of the cleanest houses in Old Bridge right now because that's all I do. So I hope to see you all
Not true.
soon.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Sohar?
I just want to wish everyone to be safe and as we've all said, hopefully soon in the future, we can all be together again. So thank you all, and thank you all for everything you do.
Can I just add one thing, please?
Sure.
I don't think anyone would put anyone at risk for work. I go to work daily. There are ways to work and be safe. And if you follow the CDC guidelines, you will be safe. And so it's very upsetting to see the bantering back and forth. The business administrators work very hard. He goes in the office and he respects his employees. And I don't think he would put anyone at risk. And we have to be reasonable and sensible. There are ways to function and work and get the job done. There's things that still need to be done. So let's just put that aside and, we'll make good judgment on when to do certain things, and no one's jumping the gun. Things have to just move forward in the town. That there are things that need to get done, and they are using the guidelines from the CDC, the social distancing, the disinfectants in the building are extraordinary. And I just want everyone really to stay calm. This is a very difficult situation for everyone to get through on so many levels. And the most important thing is for the people to be safe and really just reach out if anyone needs help. There's little things that you can do without being in direct contact with people all the time. Thank you. And I'll make a motion to close the meeting if that's what you want now.
Second.
So we have a motion by Dr. Greenberg Belli to adjourn, second by Mr. Murphy.
Okay. Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Biscotti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohar?
Yes. Thank you.
Meeting is adjourned.